Hey, Coach, you've had a couple games called early because of the run rule. Obviously, that means your offense is clicking while the pitching is as well. I'm curious, do those facets of the game directly complement each other? Like, do you see hitters firing up their pitchers after a big inning? How do they feed off of each other in those moments?
It's also philosophy. So we talk about within the team that if our offense puts up runs, it's our pitching and our defense that's responsible to put up a zero to get us back in the dugout so we can keep the momentum. What becomes very frustrating as a coach is when we put up runs and we go out and we let the leadoff batter get on base because now the momentum shifts to the other side. So that's something that we continually we'll talk about, and vice versa. If our offense is struggling, that we have to make sure defensively that we're making those plays to keep it in a tight ball game. I think Lauren, there would be a great question to ask Lauren because in a couple of her outings, she'll go in and we'll put up, I call it a crooked number. So any number that has some bends in it, we'll put up some crooked numbers. And then she goes out the next inning and she's so excited for the team where she has to learn how to control herself a little bit more. And that's just experience that she's getting herself in a different routine to be able to stay calm and treat it like it's a 0-0 ball game rather than it's 5-0 and then we're in the lead.
Colin and Andrew.
Yeah, Coach, I know we talked before the season about just how many bats you had in that dugout, but what's it been like trying to work those two freshmen who are really hitting their way into the everyday lineup with the experienced players you have coming back and then working Jasmine back in and just that balancing act?
Those two freshmen have been absolutely great. And I kept them at the bottom of the lineup just to not put a lot of pressure on them because the upperclassmen are the ones that really relish in that pressure situation. But I've moved them up. As you see, I moved up Alex Honnold, and she was 5 and 6 a couple times, and I moved up Jenna Laird. And slowly they're going to continue to creep their way up. But I don't want them to feel like they have to do anything different than they've already done. It's just giving them more opportunities and get more at bats. I think at the end of the season, there's about 100 at bat difference between the 9-hole and the leadoff spot just throughout the course of the year. So I want to be able to get those two players more at bats to put them in more possible situations.
Coach, I apologize for jumping on a little bit late, but I wanted to ask you about Catherine Cadlick getting that walk-off hit. How special was that for her to get that, especially since she's, as Mizzou as they come?
And she is. And, it's so special for the program, and it's special for us as a coaching staff. Since we've been here, the whole emphasis has been about culture and creating that culture and rewarding those people that are loyal and committed to the program. And Catherine Cadillac is the epitome of exactly what a Mizzou Tiger needs to be. So being able to reward someone who hasn't been a starter, she's so valuable to the program to where the last 2 seasons for SEC play, I'm only allowed to travel with 22 people in uniform. And she hasn't set foot on the field in an SEC game. She only had 1 at-bat prior going into this season. But she has been one of those 22 people in a uniform since I've been here because of the value that she adds being a bullpen catcher. And to be able to give her that opportunity with the winning run, the mercy rule run at second base, and she came through, just the excitement that the team had, one, when she stepped in the batter's box, and that as soon as that ball was put in play, you could hear everyone in the dugout going, it's dropping, it's dropping, it's dropping. And then the mad rush on the field just shows you the respect that they have for Catherine and the culture that we've created here.
Okay, Anthony.
Hey, Coach, kind of piggybacking off of that, did you say anything to Catherine as she was getting ready to go up to bat? What did you say to her when you were putting her in? And then did you have any sort of a moment after the fact?
It started with, I had batted Kelsey Mortimer prior to as a pinch hitter, as a freshman. It was her first collegiate at bat. And then Hattie Moore's in the dugout, and I'm coaching on the third base box, and we were in the third base dugout. So it was easy for me to have conversations with the players. And Hattie Moore got my attention. She's like, Coach, Catherine, go to Catherine. So I was like turning to look, and Catherine's in full catcher's gear from head to toe because she was in the bullpen. And I'm like, Catherine, let's go. And she immediately, she's panicking. She's taking off all of her gear, and she runs right from the on-deck circle right to the batter's box and took strike 1. Strike 2 was about 2.5 feet above her head. And she takes this monster hack, like so excited, and the dugout's cheering. I just said, calm down, stay within yourself. And then it was strike three that she connected with and blooped in. And, just to see, and I just sat back when the team rushed the field and I just watched. And it's about them, and it's the respect that they have and the interaction that when you see the team react the way that they did, you really do truly have something special. And at the end of the game, I gave Jenna Laird a game ball because it was her first collegiate home run. And then I had a second game ball that I gave to Catherine for having her walk off hit. And I know that's something that she's probably going to cherish for the rest of her life.
You can go Ben, then Colin.
Larissa, I'm sorry, I had to step out of the room for a second, so I'm sorry if I missed this. But do Catherine's teammates have an idea of who her grandfather was and what kind of he meant, not just as a coach, but also with the football broadcasting over the years? And was that kind of part of the moment?
They know how proud she is to be a Mizzou Tiger. I don't know if they know the full extent of the value that he's brought to Mizzou. But they know who he is. They absolutely do. And they know that the practice football fields are named after him and what he represents. And they've been to Catherine's house and they've seen the entire basement shrine that's all decked out in black and gold. And, so they have an idea. But I think they got a true semblance of what Mizzou means to her when she received her Letterman jacket this fall. When I first got hired here at Mizzou, she was one of the first young ladies that came into my office. And in the past, to receive a Letterman jacket, it was all based on statistics. And in my opinion, you can't value someone's worth within a program based on statistics alone, especially in softball. That, you have a pinch runner that might get in every single game, but if they haven't had the percentages, they weren't meeting the criteria to receive a jacket. So I have changed the entire requirements on how you receive a jacket, and it's up to my discretion. And it could be culture kids that might not ever see the field. But going into this fall, she and I had spoke again, and she just wanted to know if it's possible that she could graduate with a jacket and how much it would mean to her. And so when we presented last year's Letterman winners this fall, Catherine was the last one that I presented to her that she was going to receive the jacket. And she put the jacket on and just broke down in tears and how much that jacket means to her and her family. So I think that's where the team really got a semblance of the value of what it really means to be a Mizzou Tiger. So that made this at bat and this hit that much more.
Coach, obviously anchored by number 1, number 2 Oklahoma, but this weekend, just what do you want to see from your team at possibly like a regional site?
Stay competitive. You can't get caught up in the name that's going to be on their chest. Everyone knows who Oklahoma is. It doesn't matter when you play them, if it's going to be in the beginning of the year, if it's going to be in postseason, but it's going to be a great test for us. I think it's going to be unbelievable experience for our young players. We know what we need to do, and we're going to focus on Mizzou softball, but at the same time, you can't deny really what's at stake. It's just making sure that they stay in the moment and they stay focused on us rather than focused on them.
Good, Anthony.
Yeah, is Lauren taking questions right now?
She will in just a few minutes.
Okay, sorry about that. But anyway, so kind of piggybacking off of the Oklahoma question, is there any sort of different sort of preparation or anything that's going into that, given that they are ranked number 1 in the country?
No, we don't change anything day to day or week to week. And that's part of my philosophy from day one, that they know that they're prepared to compete against anybody in the country. So it doesn't change focus. It doesn't change, we don't have to play at a different speed. We've been playing at this speed and we practice at this speed from day one. So that way they're consistent with their focus and their energy level and their consistency. And they don't feel like they have to get too high or too low against outside competition. So it's just getting back to the fundamentals. Pitchers today had a great workout, just working on getting back on time, some real tiny little things. I know that Chris is working with the machine, trying to simulate what their pitching style is. But at the same time, we have 2 other opponents that we need to focus on as well.
Anything else for Coach? All right, so we'll move on to Lauren.
Thanks, guys, for being here. Thanks.